Okay, I want to do one little quick video here to explain a couple of things that John said that I need some clarification. I want to give some clarification about. Um, First of all, there was a video put out about a year ago by the Daily Build. I don't know if that's a big station on YouTube or what, big channel or what, but I read it and it said that Barry Mills was a snitch, and because he gave a statement claiming that he wasn't the one who killed John Marsloff, that it was Ben Hogan that committed that murder. Ben Hogan was a sexual pervert. He raped a kid in Petersburg Federal Correctional Institution, and they let that kid out of prison and gave him like $25,000. That was back in the 70s. Well, all this was back in the 70s, actually. They sent Ben Hogan to Atlanta for that. They upped his security points and they sent him to Atlanta. And while he was there, he raped the dietitian in the for the food service. She was the first woman to work in that federal penitentiary without any staff protection. There were other women who worked in the CMP office, but they were escorted from the front door of the prison to the CMP office. They were locked in the CMP office, and when they got off of work at night, they were escorted back out of the prison by male guards. So inmates were never in physical contact with these women. This woman got a job, and they tried to tell her, listen, this place is full of animals. The men in here aren't your average men. There's some really bad people in this prison. This is not safe for you to be, having your office by yourself. She said, oh no, I'll be just fine. I'll be just fine. So they said, all right, it's your decision, So they gave her an office. So if a person had some dietary issues, they would come into her office and talk about them. As soon as Ben Hogan found out that she was there and that she was alone in that office, by the way, the office was in the hospital building, and he went in and he raped her, and he murdered her, and I don't want to tell you all the things he did that were disgusting, but he did some horrible things. I don't know if it was before he killed her or after he killed her, but he did some really atrocious things to her. And he eventually admitted that he did it, and he told the story to Lieutenant Gooch. Gooch was the SIS, Senior Investigator Specialist for the institution. And he told her what he did, and he said that she told him, please don't do this, I'm a virgin. She had never had sex with a man before. This was her first time. What a sad story it is, right? It's terrible. What happened to her was terrible. But they locked Hogan up, and they indicted him for murder. There was no federal death penalty at the time. The worst they could give him was life, and most life sentences back then were parolable. I had, anyway, let's put it this way. You could be paroled, mandatory parole, after 30 years. if you met certain criteria. The criteria was if you didn't kill a cop, a correctional officer, a government witness, I think maybe was something else. But he did. He killed, she was considered a correctional officer. So he would never get out of prison again for as long as he lived. And that was, he accepted, he didn't care. I don't think he ever thought about it. He didn't care. He was a sick man, obviously. And so this happened right about the time that Barry Mills got his murder case. It was Barry and it was Mike Bartosh. And they were snitched on by a guy named Danny Halliday. They called him Doc Holliday. Anyway, he was a rat. He became a rat. One of the things that Barry did to try to beat the case was he talked Ben Hogan into taking credit for the murder of John Marsloff. So Ben Hogan wrote a statement and had it notarized saying that he killed John Marsloff in the stadium office bathroom. They call it the Rec Shack bathroom. But he killed, he claimed he killed Marsloff. He didn't, but he was going to take the beef because he didn't have anything else to lose. And I think he might have thought that he was going to get into the Aryan Brotherhood by doing that. But ended up being in Marion on I unit, and he was waiting to come over to the control unit, H unit. And a guy by the name of Sonny Burkett was on recreation with him. He was sitting down playing chess with a guy, and he had his feet through the bars of the guy's cell while he was playing chess, so he could lean up closer to the chessboard. And that's when Sonny stabbed him to death. And after he stabbed him to death, he dragged his body back out. He put it in his bed. He put it back into his bed. He pulled the covers up. He mopped the blood up off the floor. And when the cop came back, he locked all the doors and let out another rec group, or 3-man rec groups. And that was the story of how Ben Hogan got murdered. But the last thing he did before he died was he gave a statement saying that he was the one that killed. That's a deathbed statement because he can't refute it. They can't put him on a witness stand. He can't retract it. People have said that that was the reason that he was killed because nobody wanted him to retract that statement. Is it possible? I can't say if it was true or not, but one thing we know is he's good and dead, and good riddance to that motherfucker, huh? Piece of shit. What a piece of shit. And that's it. That's the story of why Barry Mills offered that statement in his own defense about the killing of John Marsloff. He wasn't snitching. He had the permission of Ben Hogan to make that statement. In fact, Ben Hogan actually wrote it. So whoever put that on the internet didn't know what the hell they were talking about. That was on the Daily Build about a year ago. One other thing I want to talk about was the murder of Steamboat. Steamboat was a gorgeous murder. I mean, I got to tell you, it was gorgeous. He deserved it. He was another sex maniac. He had raped a couple of boys in Leavenworth, one in Population, and then they put a guy in a hole with him while he was going to for the rape of the first guy, they put another guy in the hole with him as a cell partner, and he raped that guy. And so, I mean, he was, he was trash. I mean, he needed to go out with the trash. And Clay Fountain and Baby Huey, they put in their work exactly the way John described it in the video. Chasing him around the universal weight machine and coming out with his jock strap, all that stupid shit. But he was trying to put his pants on. He had a pair of sweatpants that he was trying to pull on when he was walking out of the cell. So he only had like one leg in the sweatpants. And he was, and they were chasing him around the weight machine. That was kind of impeding his progress. He couldn't get away from these guys. If he ran one way, Huey was going to hit him. The other way, Clay was going to stab him. What I want to, John said that he ran up to the door and he bent over and stuck his ass out like he was going to get fucked. That wasn't exactly true. He stuck his head in the tray slot in the door because it was the only freedom he could see. And he was trying to get his head through that slot so he could get the fuck away from these white boys with these big fucking knives. He was just moving, but he wasn't going anywhere. He wasn't sticking his ass out to get fucked. He was trying to get through that little hole. And I guess when you're dying and getting murdered, and that's the only hole you see to go through, give it a shot, right? Why not? What do you got to lose? You're going to die anyway, right? Anyway, that's the end of this video. I just wanted to clarify that. There was something else I wanted to say, but I can't remember it right now. So I'm going to end this video. And I hope you enjoyed this, man. I'm just starting to do this here. I spent a lot of time in prison. I know a lot of these stories that John's talking about. He was a lot closer to a lot of things than I was. And I hope you'll tune in again. Prison Liberation, or whatever John wants to call it. Redemption. Prison Liberation and Redemption Program.